What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks for watching this video in advance. In this video I'm going to be talking about the things I wish I knew before I started playing this game. You know, the mistakes I made, just tips and tricks for you to have an easier experience in the game. So I'm just going to be talking about the mistakes I made so that you don't have to make the same mistakes if you're playing this game. Mistake number one, not focusing on my build while leveling up. While I was leveling up in the game, playing through the story, it was pretty easy, you know. It was pretty easy as the game does a good job of introducing you to combat and the story, and the weapons you gain, like as you progress, kind of match your level. But as soon as you get higher levels and you level up a bit and reach higher world tiers, you know, some of the loot doesn't match with you. The enemies get a lot stronger and you start lagging a little bit behind, and the enemies will get a lot tougher, especially if your world tier increases with your level. I wasn't focusing on my build as I was leveling up. I was just equipping whatever gear I had at the time, with the highest level, or just, you know, the one I thought had the highest level and or looked the coolest. Because before that seemed to work fine. Whatever gun I pick up, it's got the highest level, I'll use that. So yeah, I wouldn't focus on the build. I wouldn't look at these numbers up here. Like, so for example, when I was leveling up, all my attributes didn't really match. I wasn't really focusing on the build I wanted. I was just equipping whatever I wanted. Just for example, I've got anomaly power on this build here. I've got anomaly power, fire power here, anomaly power there, and fire power there, fire power there. And when I was leveling up, it was actually worse because I had like health. I had another piece for health. So you don't really want to mix and match builds in this game. You want to focus on a specific build. So if you like using guns, predominantly put it in all fire power. If you like using your abilities and, you know, special abilities, put it all anomaly. You know, if you try to make it like a hybrid build, you'll just gimp yourself and you'll be doing weak damage with your guns and weak damage with your powers. So pick one, and I didn't focus on that. So that's mistake number one that I made, not focusing on the build, you know. And I didn't know what these attributes did. Anomaly power, I didn't know what that is, but that basically boosts the power of your abilities, and firepower boosts the power of your guns, basically. Bullets. And mistake number two was raising attributes on gear before leveling it up. Basically, as you're leveling up, you want your gear to stay on the same level as you. That's how your power is calculated. So if you're fighting level 45 enemies, you want your gear to be level 45. So if your gear is like level 40 or level 41, you want to level up your gear and to match that of the content that you're doing. So that's how you keep up with the game. But before you do that, you can level your attribute. For example, I got these level 44 gloves. I'm like level 49 or something, right? And you can raise the attributes here. You can increase their anomaly power, the healing, and their cooldown. But the downside is, if you do this on the level 44 piece or any piece that's low level, but if you do that and you try to level it up, it will reset these attributes. As you can see there, when I go to level up this gear, take it from 44 to 45, these attributes will change. So if you level it up, get these attributes really high or the maximum you can, and you level up, they'll basically reset it, and basically all your effort and your stats were all in vain. Basically, you just wasted them. So essentially, you want to first level this up so that you don't have to waste shards, you know. So I would say don't use this raise attribute feature until maybe if you really like the gear piece and you have a lot of shards and resources. But if you don't, I wouldn't really use this raise attribute feature until you're at least level 40, until you're at the cap, really, level 50. But you can use it if you got like extra materials to spare. At my max, I'm at level 49 right now, so I don't mind doing it. But if you do have a lot of shards, here's how many shards. You come down to the shards, you use these shards to level them up. So for example, my cooldown is at 5%. Let's increase healing to 13 to 14%. So I've increased it to 14%, right? So if I go to level it up, I leveled it up, but now it's back down to 13%. So it will reset these attributes to, I guess, the original default values. So I wouldn't really use this attribute raise attribute feature on a piece of gear that you're going to replace. And as well as the level up feature, I would only really use this on blue items because it will cost a lot less. You see, if I'm taking this to level 46, it will only cost me 1,000, right? 1,000 of these leather. But if I try to raise, let's just say, this epic gear, don't level up epic gear, but if you did want to level it up, here's how much it'll cost me: 12,000 drop pod resources and 400 of these titanium. It's just not worth it. You're better off taking a blue piece to level 49, and then when you take the blue piece to level 49 or whatever your max level is, improve the rarity, and then it will cost you significantly less resources, you know. So yeah, that's just another quick mistake that I made. Number 3, farming captains for loot while leveling up. If you're leveling up your character, you're not yet at max level or at the world tier that you want to be at, farming captains will hold you back, you know, because it will reduce your level every time you die. When you're captain farming, you're killing the captain and then dying on purpose, and then you're respawning to kill the same captain over and over again for legendary loot or epic loot, wherever, right? But doing that will reduce your experience of your world tier. So if you're trying to level up your world tier, that you shouldn't be doing that. So I'm not saying don't captain farm, but I didn't notice that I was losing XP when I was doing it. Like, for example, I've got a little bit of XP in my world tier bar, as you can see there. I'm a world tier 10. If I go fight a captain and I die, I'll lose XP. So the best way to do it is get your character to the next threshold. So get him to like world tier 11 or wherever your next world tier is, and when they have 0 XP, or in the next world tier. And number 4, playing story on the highest difficulty tier. And you want a little bit of a challenge, sure, play on the highest difficulty tier. Or if you want to play with your friends, that's fine. But if you're trying to get to the end game, to get to the best weapons and the best gear and start, basically level up your character, you don't need to use the difficulty world tier, to be honest, because the experience you get is the same. Like literally, you get the same level of experience from the highest world tier to world tier 1. So I was playing on like world tier 8 and 9. I think it was world tier 9, and it was very difficult and very challenging, the enemies, and I was dying quite a lot. So while I was dying quite a lot, I was losing a lot of experience, not progressing in the story. So I was dying quite a lot, not progressing in the story, and spending more time than I needed to in the actual campaign mode, which is an end game. The end game is obviously getting to the end game when you finish the game and playing the challenge tiers, which is a completely different system. So you want to get to the end game as fast as you can if you're a new player. So as soon as I found out that it gives you the same XP as it does playing on higher world tiers, just set it to world tier 1 and go through the campaign. You'll still get the same experience and your character will level up. You should be around level 28 or 30 by the time you finish the campaign mode. The maximum level is level 30. So yeah, just set it to world tier 1, beat the story, get to the end game, and yeah, don't make the same mistake I did. And the 5th mistake that I made was ignoring all side quests and side missions. So basically I was just playing to get to the end of the game and beat the main story and progress with the end game, and which is the challenge tiers. So I was in a rush to do that. I actually ignored some good sized quests. Now there's a few ways to get legendaries in this game, beating randomly, getting lucky by defeating enemies, and also doing the endgame missions, which are called challenge tiers. You can get lucky, some drop in there, and also side quests. But side quests is the best way to get legendary gear. guaranteed legendary. Some side quests offer guaranteed legendary gear, so I avoided all side quests because I thought they're all just useless and a waste of time, and that was a mistake. So there's specific side quests which offer guaranteed legendaries when completed. They may not be your level, they might be slightly lower than you by the time you're at the end game, but they will offer you the mods which you can dismantle, or you can level them up to your level, or you can just dismantle them for the mods, which are very powerful, which I've done on my character. You know, some examples of, like, you know, side quests is like the Big Iron side quest. When you get further into the campaign, you'll be able to get it from one of the vendors. Complete that, you get 1 of 3 easy to get legendaries. If you complete the historic quest from the vendor in the first city, you get to she gives you a repeatable quest. When you complete all collect all 10 items for her, I mean, she will give you a legendary weapon or armor piece. It's repeatable, but this one is kind of long, so I wouldn't repeat it. It's kind of long. It's boring. It's a bit boring, but it's a guaranteed legendary. And once you get to, I think it's Trench Town, you can pick up the hunt quests and the wanted quests from the 2 vendors sitting in like a bar. They're right next to each other, and these are the guys you turn in the quest, the wanted and monster quests too. So you basically hunt those captains, and you hunt monsters for the other guy. And once you get all 10 of them, you turn him in, and he'll give you a bunch of epic loot as well as legendaries for them. Every area on the map, they'll be shown as these symbols, like the little claw, and hunt. Those will be the hunt missions, and the wanted missions will be shown like a little bullseye symbol. And you just go travel to these zones, and you'll come along, and you'll come along some bones on the map. On the arena, you'll come along some bones, like a monster carcass. You investigate it, and that will trigger the hunt quest. And for the wanted ones, you'll see like a little wanted poster on the map. You go to that, activate it, and you'll trigger the wanted mission basically. If you have the history quest, it will look like a book symbol. So you can basically do all of them at once, turn them in, and get guaranteed legendaries. Also, another mistake you should avoid doing is playing with allies and friends. Now, I'm not saying you should not play with your friends at all, but if you're playing some of the challenge tiers, the only way to rank up is to get silver or gold times. So basically, you got to finish the mission in a particular speed, and it is far easier to solo some of the missions, because the enemies, when you play with friends, the game scales the enemies and gives them larger health reserves, and I think they do a little bit more damage, and they feel like they resist a lot more of your abilities. For example, if you're playing solo, you might be able to 1-shot or 2-shot every enemy you come across, and then kill the elites in a few shots. But when one player joins your game, you'll notice instead of killing them in 1 shot, you're killing them in 3-4 shots. And then if another player joins it again, their health pool increases even more. So that's the game's way to try and compensate for the extra players. It assumes the other players who join in your game are doing the same amount of damage as you or more. But in actuality, you get matched up with randoms, and they're not doing quite as much damage as you. This increases the time it takes to complete the mission, because you're fighting tankier enemies. Even the bosses will have more health. So this is a mistake I learned the hard way. So sometimes if you're trying to go to the next challenge tier and you can only get there by getting a silver or a gold, you might be better off playing solo. If you've got a good build, you might be able to get silver on your own, or gold if it's really good build. But if you're playing with allies, or if you're playing like randoms, you don't know what gear randoms are using. So if you want to play with your friends, that's fine, but just know the enemies are going to be a lot tougher, and bosses as well. So it might increase your playtime, you know. So and sometimes randoms don't know what they're doing as well. So I prefer to play with my friends or play solo if you're trying to get higher challenge tier, if you're trying to rank up, rather than play with random match-made players. So that's just one mistake you might be making. Hope this video helped you out. Hope you don't make these same mistakes I did. And if this video helped you, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.